Hello and welcome to another update on Ethereum. Well, the Ethereum chart has pushed quite a bit today. We're currently witnessing a fifth wave to the upside that's here unfolding. And honestly, it's now reached all the levels we needed it to reach. It's reached the 1925 level. That was originally my target for the third wave. But the third wave didn't quite get there. But in the fifth wave, even more impressively, the price is now pushed to $2,084. Of course, it could grind higher. I mean, that's, again, I posted that on Twitter today, or X, that just because a wave count is full, it doesn't mean that a pullback has started, right? That is not the case. That's the purpose of the micro support area, to track the trend higher. And at the moment, it is between $1,930 and $2,010, which means as long as we're holding micro support, and yeah, we have to give it space. We have to give it a room for pullbacks. But as long as that is holding, the overall upside trend can continue. Now, that being said, after a move like today, the risk is naturally increasing as we're getting further away from that Fibonacci support, even though it will be adjusted with the price, but still it will move up further from the price because the price extends and the Fibonacci box will move with the price, but still the distance increases. That's just how it works. In addition to that, we have reached now the next Fib level there at 2084. So what I want to do with you in this video is to share with you what would be the next relevant resistance. And we zoom out a little bit for that. And also, I just want to share with you that this is now a pretty complete looking 5-wave move, like on the Bitcoin chart. Yeah. So we have a wave 1, we have a wave 2. Sorry, it was a bit off the actual wave. So 1, 2, and then we had an A, B, C in wave 3. This was a 4, bit weak, and this is a 5th wave. So that's a valid scenario. Now we could say that it maybe forms another higher low and another higher high, but that's a question we have to deal with once micro support is broken, because until we break micro support, we don't even need to think about that a top is in, okay? That being said, it's now, of course, quite an aggressive move up, so I think a pullback is now due, and then the bulls will need to show if they can defend the 1930 level. That would be the first signal line that needs to be broken to indicate that some kind of a top is in place. Now, we have pushed to the 178.6 extension. Absolute, it's one of the ideal targets for a 5th wave, right? The problem here is that the 3rd wave was a bit weak, but the 5th wave definitely made it all happen. And but do we have to stop here? No, of course not. But I want to show you what the next levels would be in case the price pushes higher more directly, because that's important to understand. What would be the next levels to watch? Yeah, so the next levels would be 2,173 and 2,275. But obviously, we've already reached all the levels that we need to reach in 5 waves. So it's not a guarantee, but exactly that is why we track support, micro support, for a potential upside impulse in a C wave. But also looking at this, we can identify the next structural resistance, which is where we are now. So it's quite an important level there, the end of March high. You see it. It's basically where that 178.6 extension level is. It's a little higher though, but this seems like resistance at $2,090. So there's a bit of a cluster of resistance there around 2,080 to $2,090. Just definitely something to watch there. In addition to that, just be aware that as long as we push and hold above 1930, the market could go to 2,173 or 2,275. It's like a trailing stop. Yeah. Now, of course, a pullback isn't guaranteed, but we only had one here. We only had one on Wednesday. And it was actually a setup with a communicated micro support area, which I've now removed from the chart because it's not relevant anymore. But there was a setup. Now we've rallied. When we rally, then we just adjust support. And so far, it's holding. So, what can I say? Trend's still up. And it's important to understand that once we have a top, we have to be ready for a move down, potentially, into this area, which would be a B-wave support area between $1,511 and $1,784, which is going to be adjusted with the price as we still climb higher. Now, what I wanted to do as well as a bonus today is I wanted to take a look at the ETH BTC chart with you, because that is potentially turning around to the upside. So let's open the ETH BTC chart. Thanks so much for watching the videos on this YouTube channel. If you've been thinking about joining MCO as a member, now might be a great time. You can use the link in the video description and apply the discount code right below it. You will get 50% off your first month of our gold membership, and you can explore everything we offer. It's the easiest way to test the membership, see if it's a good fit for you, and get a feel for the community, join the conversation, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in our member area. So obviously we talked just I think a few days ago about this chart and explained to you that a fourth wave bounce is due. But is this really the fourth wave? Now, that being said, it's a downtrend, right? It is a downtrend in wave C, which should be a 5-wave move, so it might need another 4-5 pattern. And resistance is between 0.0258 and 0.039. There would be resistance here for a wave 4 bounce. And then we could get one more low in wave 5. Now, that wave 4 would, however, be quite substantial, because it could take the price all the way here, like 25%, 57% easy. Yeah, well, that is not in USD value, or that's not on the USD chart. That is compared to Bitcoin. So this journey in wave 4 would suggest that Ethereum has a chance to outperform Bitcoin. That's precisely what I talked about before, but that we also need a signal first. I mean, is this a signal? I think it's too weak. Honestly, I mean, you've seen it. This is really hardly noticeable compared to the depth of the decline, okay? Now, it seems like at least a local low seems to be in place, okay? So we can track it. And I need to see if the market can now form 5 waves up. That would be our first evidence. But we can already track how a 5-wave move up would look like. So this would be a standard 5-wave move up. We've now reached the 100% extension. So if it stays a 3-wave move, we would see a rejection soon. But if it's going to form 5 waves, ideally it reaches the 138% extension, and then would push a little higher. So we talk about for a proper 5-wave move to develop, I want to see ETH BTC get to 0.0214, maybe even higher, then form a higher low, and then form a higher high towards 0.0219. All right, at least 5 waves to 0.0219. That would be ideal, because that would give us a proper 5-wave move. Then the next pullback could be a higher low and so on. But again, I see it primarily as a corrective rally. But that is exactly the sequence, the journey, that the move up in which Ethereum could start to outperform Bitcoin. And that is valid, especially here, as long as the wave 2 low is holding, that formed at 0.0185. Yeah, that's the update on Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.